Good morning. I'm sorry that I'm not able to be with you in person today, but I hope you've had a productive conference so far as you work to strengthen transportation infrastructure in the Lone Star State and beyond. The work you do has had a tremendous impact on the state of Texas, and it will bring more jobs and more opportunities to your fellow Texans. Throughout my tenure in the Senate, my top priority has been jobs, jobs, jobs. And the reason for that is simple. It's the number one priority of Texans I represent. Everywhere you go in Texas, from East Texas to West Texas, from the Panhandle down to the Valley, Texans want more jobs, higher wages, more opportunities. And there's a reason that people from all over the country are coming to Texas, because Texas is where the jobs are. Each of you are at the forefront of transportation infrastructure development, which is critical to a thriving economy. I'm proud to have spearheaded 2 critical infrastructure wins for Texas that will create high-paying jobs, fix broken supply chains, improve trade and commerce, and spur economic growth for our state and for our nation. Last year, I was proud to lead the fight in the United States Senate to officially name the Ports to Plains corridor through Texas and New Mexico as Interstate 27. I worked closely with leaders on the ground in Laredo, all the way up through West Texas and the Panhandle, all the way up to North Dakota to gain this bipartisan victory. The construction alone is a $55 billion project, and Interstate 27 will produce 178,000 jobs right here in Texas. It'll produce $17 billion additional dollars for the Texas GDP. And it will produce over 17,000 ongoing jobs to improve trade and commerce, whether it's moving cotton, moving cattle, moving oil and gas, or moving people, all of which is incredibly important as we continue to see goods and crops and livestock and people move from Texas all over the country. This Congress, I'm privileged to serve as the ranking member on the Senate Commerce Committee, which means I'm the senior Republican on the committee that controls 40% of the U.S. economy. That happened just this year, and it's a very good thing for the state of Texas. In my capacity as ranking member, I was able to secure another major transportation victory for Texas just a couple of weeks ago. In South Texas right now, there are 4 pending projects to build new bridges or to expand existing bridges between Texas and Mexico. 1 project in Laredo, 1 project being developed by Webb County, another project in Cameron County, and another project in Maverick County in Eagle Pass, where you are at right now. All 4 of these projects, sadly, have been stalled for several years. And the reason is as follows. If you build a bridge, under federal law, you have to go through what are called NEPA, environmental approvals. Now, if you're building a cross-border bridge, a bridge that goes across to another country, there's yet another federal law that kicks in that requires a presidential permit. The way those permits used to be granted is the president would grant the permit conditional upon the completion of the NEPA review so that it would move things along expeditiously. Unfortunately, when Joe Biden came into office, his administration reversed this policy, and they announced that the president would not grant any permits at all until the NEPA review was entirely completed. As a practical matter, that meant every one of these bridge projects in Texas was delayed 1, 2, 3 years. And it also meant that the sponsors of these bridges were having a hard time getting financing because the banks didn't want to commit until the presidential permit was granted. This didn't make any sense. It was bad for Texas, and it was bad for the country. So I worked to bring together a bipartisan group and to unify the entire South Texas congressional delegation, to unify Republicans and Democrats. Together, I wrote a letter joined by every member of the South Texas congressional delegation telling them to change this process, to eliminate the bureaucratic roadblocks. The Biden administration didn't budge. So I introduced legislation